That's right. That's right. So these patients are followed for years until they progress. And then at the time that they progress, they're recommended to get radical treatment. But many men don't really tolerate that very well. The idea of living with a cancer that could be growing and metastasizing is such that a lot of people, just because of anxiety, end up undergoing things like radical prostatectomy anyway.
Hey, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Garrett Nichols. He is the Chief Medical Officer for Candel Therapeutics. And Garrett, good to see you. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so coming up for a very significant readout of something the company's been working on for quite some time. This is your phase 2B localized early prostate cancer study that you've been doing. So we thought before the data comes out, obviously towards the end of the year, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to sort of remind everyone a little bit about what that study is all about. So let's take it back from the beginning and tell me a little bit about the design of the study.
Yeah, so as you're probably aware, many men are diagnosed with early, low to intermediate risk localized prostate cancer, and they opt for what's called active surveillance over available treatment options. Those available treatment options are things like prostatectomy or radiotherapy, which are associated with a high complication rate. And active surveillance just means that these patients are basically watched. They're followed with serial prostate-specific antigen testing and biopsies every couple of years. So what we decided to do in that setting was to see if our drug CAN-2409 could be effective as a means of decreasing the amount of recurrence that happens. Because within 10 years, men that undergo active surveillance, about a third of those men develop intermediate to high risk cancers that will ultimately require one of those invasive radical therapies.
Yeah. So this study was about 188 patients, as I mentioned, over a series of time, and that's the importance of this, right? Is the when you talk about active surveillance, is it's stretched out over time limits.
That's right. That's right. So these patients are followed for years until they progress. And then at the time that they progress, they're recommended to get radical treatment. But many men don't really tolerate that very well. The idea of living with a cancer that could be growing and metastasizing is such that a lot of people, just because of anxiety, end up undergoing things like radical prostatectomy anyway.
Yeah. Tell us about the data that you're expecting. What would it tell you from this particular study?
So this study is designed to read out a decrease in the risk of progression. So these men are basically randomized 2 to 1 to either get 2 injections of our therapy, CAN-2409, in conjunction with the prodrug that's administered at the same time. And this is basically as opposed to the other patients that are followed just with active surveillance alone. And we're looking, starting at 1 year after the procedures, we're looking to see whether the rate of progression is declining. So, in other words, the rate of biopsy proven progression of the disease, such that patients would be recommended to get prostatectomies.
Okay. And then data like this will then lead you to what? Just so everyone understands sort of the next stages of this. Do you then move to a next phase of a trial, or does it go in a different direction?
Yeah, so if this study is successful, it would be really the first therapy that would be offered to men in this particular situation, but it would have to be confirmed with a phase 3 trial.
Yeah, very important work for sure, and something that's desperately needed. Garrett, thank you so much. I appreciate the update, and look forward to seeing that data when it's finally released.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
All right, there's Garrett Nichols. He's the Chief Medical Officer for Candel Therapeutics.